66 million years ago, a cosmic hammer struck our planet, extinguishing 3/4 of all life, including the mighty dinosaurs. It was a cataclysm of unimaginable scale, reshaping Earth's destiny forever. Today, that event remains a stark reminder of our planet's vulnerability, a silent ghost whispering through the eons. But what if that ghost became reality? What if the very same asteroid, with its immense destructive power, were hurtling towards Earth once more, its arrival set for tomorrow? The mere thought conjures a chilling vision of an ending, not just for ancient beasts, but for us. The asteroid responsible for the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction event, now famously known as the Chicxulub impactor, was truly immense. Scientists estimate it measured roughly 10 to 15 kilometers in diameter, traveling at an astonishing speed. When it struck what is now Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, it didn't just create a crater, it fundamentally altered the planet's systems. Its legacy is etched into the geological record and remembered through the countless species lost, paving the way for the age of mammals, and ultimately, our own existence. Understanding its power is crucial to comprehending a repeat scenario. In our hypothetical scenario, sophisticated observatories, tirelessly scanning the heavens, would identify the inbound object. Perhaps it's a dark asteroid, previously undetected, or one whose trajectory was subtly shifted by gravitational perturbations. The initial detection would trigger a global alarm, a frantic scramble among space agencies and governments. Calculations would rapidly confirm its collision course with Earth, with a chilling certainty. The countdown would begin, not in millennia, but in hours. This moment of realization would be the true start of humanity's greatest crisis. To fully grasp the scale, visualize an asteroid the size of Mount Everest, hurtling towards us. The Chicxulub impactor, estimated at 10 to 15 kilometers across, is not just large, it's a planet killer. The energy it carries would dwarf anything humanity has ever conceived. Compared to even the most powerful nuclear weapons, its potential devastation is orders of magnitude greater. There is no defense, no deflection possible with such short notice. The only certainty is its arrival, transforming our blue marble into a crucible of chaos and destruction. The moment of public announcement would be etched into history. World leaders, their faces grim, would deliver the news that defies belief. Panic would erupt instantly, spreading faster than any virus through our interconnected global society. Stock markets would crash, communication networks would overload, and the fabric of civil order would begin to fray. People would grapple with an impossible reality: the end is imminent. No preparations could truly mitigate the sheer psychological and physical shock of knowing a global cataclysm is just hours away. With only a day's notice, organized evacuation on any meaningful scale would be impossible. Millions, perhaps billions, would attempt to flee major cities, overwhelming every highway, airport, and seaport. But where would they go? There is no safe haven on a planet targeted by such an impactor. Resources would dwindle to nothing, leaving desperation and chaos in their wake. The idea of evacuation would transform from a logistical challenge into a tragic, futile scramble for an extra few hours of life, underscoring our ultimate powerlessness. What would humanity do in its final hours? Some might seek comfort in family, others in prayer. Many would succumb to fear, while a defiant few might cling to a sense of order, however fragile. The world's scientific community would undoubtedly be documenting every last detail, sending probes and data into space, hoping that some fragment of human knowledge might escape. Yet, for the vast majority, these would be moments of profound, personal terror, facing an end beyond comprehension, a collective grief for a world about to be lost. For the sake of this thought experiment, let's assume the asteroid strikes an ocean, similar to Chicxulub's coastal impact, but perhaps deeper, or a continent. The precise location matters for immediate, localized devastation, but for global consequences, the sheer energy release dominates. It's not if the world changes, but how fundamentally. The impactor's angle, velocity, and composition would all contribute to the cascade of effects. Yet, regardless of specifics, the outcome would be unequivocal: a planet in existential crisis, on the verge of utter collapse. As the asteroid enters the atmosphere, it would become a blinding, searing meteor, brighter than 1,000 suns, consuming itself as it descends. The air around it would superheat, ionizing plasma trailing in its wake. It would strike the Earth with kinetic energy equivalent to billions of Hiroshima bombs. This is not merely an explosion, it is an event that instantaneously vaporizes vast quantities of crustal rock and ocean water, creating a superheated plume that blasts into space, carrying the fragments of our world outward. The very ground would recoil. Within seconds, an immense impact crater, perhaps 180 to 200 kilometers in diameter and tens of kilometers deep, would be gouged out of the Earth's surface. The material displaced would be hurled skyward, some even escaping Earth's gravity to orbit the Sun, a permanent cosmic testament to our demise. The landscape around Ground Zero would be instantly flattened, vaporized, or melted. This immense geological wound would be a visible scar from space, a permanent monument to the destructive power of a direct cosmic hit, far exceeding anything known in human history. The impact would generate seismic waves of unprecedented magnitude, easily surpassing 10 or 11 on the Richter scale. These mega-earthquakes would shake the entire planet, triggering widespread ruptures, landslides, and volcanic eruptions across continents. Cities thousands of kilometers away from the impact site would be reduced to rubble. Subterranean infrastructure, pipelines, tunnels, critical networks, would shatter. The Earth's crust would ring like a bell, its internal structure rattled to its core, leaving no part of the world untouched by its tremors. If the impact occurred in or near an ocean, monumental tsunamis would radiate outwards, dwarfing any ever recorded. Waves hundreds of meters high would inundate coastal regions globally, sweeping away entire cities, wiping out coastal ecosystems, and penetrating deep inland. Even distant shorelines would experience devastating surges. Naval forces, ports, and island nations would be annihilated. This would not be merely a wave but a moving wall of water capable of scouring continents, fundamentally redrawing coastlines and erasing coastal populations. An immense atmospheric shockwave, radiating from the point of impact, would unleash hurricane-force winds globally. This supersonic blast would flatten forests, strip vegetation, and demolish structures even thousands of kilometers away. It's a sudden, violent displacement of air that would tear through landscapes. This isn't just wind, it's a concussive force capable of pulverizing anything in its path, creating a zone of instantaneous destruction that extends far beyond the immediate crater. The sheer energy involved is almost beyond human comprehension. Massive quantities of superheated rock and debris, ejected into the upper atmosphere and beyond, would begin to re-enter Earth's atmosphere across the entire planet. These incandescent projectiles, traveling at hypersonic speeds, would turn the sky into a global inferno. The heat generated by their re-entry would cause temperatures to skyrocket, igniting anything flammable on the surface. Imagine meteor showers of apocalyptic proportions, but instead of small, harmless rocks, they are fiery, continent-sized bombardments, each piece a harbinger of doom. The heat from the re-entering ejecta, combined with direct impact ignitions, would spark global wildfires on an unprecedented scale. Forests, grasslands, and even cities would become infernos. The smoke and soot from these fires would blot out the sun, contributing massively to the impact winter that follows. This isn't localized devastation, it's the entire terrestrial biosphere catching fire, a searing hot crucible that transforms vast swaths of the planet into ash. Wildlife, unable to escape, would perish en masse, signaling the immediate collapse of complex ecosystems. Within hours, the vibrant blue sky would be replaced by an impenetrable shroud of ash, dust, and soot, rising from the impact and the raging fires. Sunlight, the ultimate energy source for life, would be severely diminished, possibly for months or even years. Global temperatures would plummet dramatically. This immediate darkness marks the onset of the impact winter, a prolonged period of frigid cold and perpetual twilight. For those who survived the initial cataclysm, this new, dark, and frozen world would present an equally lethal challenge. There would be no escape from the cold and gloom. The prolonged absence of sunlight would bring photosynthesis, the fundamental process sustaining nearly all life on Earth, to a grinding halt. Plants, from microscopic phytoplankton to towering sequoias, would wither and die. This botanical collapse would cascade rapidly up the food chain. Herbivores would starve, followed by omnivores and carnivores. The very foundation of Earth's ecosystems would crumble, leading to an almost immediate and widespread famine for any remaining life. It's a silent killer, more insidious and pervasive than the initial impact. The immense quantities of sulfur-rich gases and other volatile compounds vaporized by the impact would rise into the atmosphere, mixing with water vapor to form highly corrosive acid rain. This deluge would devastate forests, poison freshwater sources, and erode structures. Simultaneously, the oceans would begin to acidify rapidly, dissolving the shells and skeletons of marine organisms, from corals to plankton. Entire marine ecosystems, already reeling from lack of light and seismic shock, would face catastrophic collapse, with dire consequences for deep-sea life as well. The combined effects of impact winter, cessation of photosynthesis, and acid rain would lead to an irreversible collapse of global food chains. Without primary producers, herbivores would quickly starve. The domino effect would see carnivores and omnivores follow. The sheer scale of species extinction would be staggering, mirroring, and perhaps even exceeding the Cretaceous Paleogene event. Human survival would hinge on pre-stored food reserves, which would quickly become battlegrounds, or on the ability to cultivate food in extremely hostile, dark, and cold conditions, a near impossible task. Unlike the dinosaurs, humanity possesses complex global infrastructure and a population of billions. This very interconnectedness, which sustains us, would become our greatest vulnerability. Our just-in-time supply chains, reliant on constant movement and communication, would shatter instantly. Modern medicine, powered by electricity and complex manufacturing, would cease to function. The digital world, our vast repository of knowledge, would be lost. Our advanced civilization, built on layers of fragile systems, would be utterly unprepared for such a fundamental, planet-wide disruption. The seismic shocks, atmospheric blasts, and widespread fires would destroy power grids, communication networks, transportation arteries, and water treatment facilities. With no power, no internet, no clean water, and no way to travel, cities would become uninhabitable death traps. The very systems that enable our daily lives would vanish in days, if not hours. Those not killed by the initial impact or its immediate after-effects would face a slow, agonizing struggle in a world devoid of basic necessities, battling the elements and each other for dwindling resources. Food and clean water, already scarce in many parts of the world, would become impossibly rare commodities. Fuel would be unusable or unattainable. Medicines would expire or be inaccessible. Heating and cooling, essential for survival in extreme temperatures, would become luxuries of the past. The scale of this resource scarcity would drive widespread desperation, conflict, and ultimately, a drastic reduction in the human population. The concept of economy would revert to barter, but with nothing truly valuable left to trade beyond bare survival essentials. Without functioning governments, law enforcement, or communication, societal order would quickly disintegrate. What little social cohesion existed would be replaced by tribalism, conflict, and self-preservation at any cost. Armed groups might form to control remaining resources, leading to widespread violence. The institutions we take for granted, education, healthcare, justice, would vanish, their remnants mere echoes of a forgotten time. This would be a return to a brutal, primitive existence, where survival itself is the only law, and the human spirit is tested to its absolute limits. The immediate impact, global fires, tsunamis, earthquakes, followed by the impact winter and acid rain, would trigger a new, profound mass extinction event. Beyond the dinosaurs, 75% of all species vanished 66 million years ago. Our modern impact would likely replicate, or even exceed, that devastation. Terrestrial, marine, and avian life would be decimated. Humanity would find itself not at the top of the food chain, but desperately clinging to existence, surrounded by a dying world. The Anthropocene would end, replaced by a new, desolate geological epoch. For any humans to survive, They would likely be in isolated enclaves, perhaps deep underground in converted bunkers, or in remote, self-sufficient communities. These groups would need incredible foresight, discipline, and luck. They would have to endure years of darkness, cold, and resource scarcity, relying on stored food, filtered water, and minimal energy. The knowledge of farming, hunting, and basic survival skills would become paramount, overshadowing all past technological prowess. These would be the scattered seeds of a new humanity, living on a ruined planet. If enough individuals or small groups endure, the New World Order would be one of extreme decentralization and localism. Global governance would be a distant memory. Instead, small, self-reliant communities, likely with authoritarian structures for strict resource management, would emerge. Trust would be a precious commodity, and the struggle for survival against nature and potential rival groups would be constant. The very concept of nations or borders would be meaningless in a world where every patch of arable land or source of clean water is a contested sanctuary. Modern technology would largely become obsolete. Power generation, complex electronics, and advanced manufacturing would cease. Humanity would regress technologically, possibly to an Iron Age or even Stone Age level, but with the haunting memory of what was lost. Books, if preserved, would be invaluable sources of knowledge. The challenge would be not just to survive, but to relearn and rebuild, without the industrial base or skilled population that took millennia to establish. It's a cruel irony that our technological peak could be instantly erased. The human population would be reduced to a fraction of its current billions, creating a severe genetic bottleneck. This drastically reduced genetic diversity could make future generations more vulnerable to diseases and environmental changes. The long-term implications for our species' resilience and evolution would be profound. It would take countless generations for the population to recover, and even then, the genetic scars of this event would be visible, a testament to how close humanity came to being another statistic in the Great Book of Extinctions. The impact winter, fueled by atmospheric soot and dust, could persist for several years, plunging the Earth into a perpetual, frigid twilight. Global average temperatures could drop by 10 to 20 degrees Celsius. Growing food would be exceptionally challenging. Any remaining surface water would freeze. This protracted period of darkness and cold would be the ultimate test of human endurance, pushing any survivors to the brink of physiological and psychological collapse. It's a world hostile to complex life, a stark contrast to the vibrant planet we know. Eventually, over years, the dust and soot would slowly settle out of the atmosphere. The first faint glimmers of sunlight would pierce the gloom, initiating a painfully slow ecological recovery. Photosynthesis would gradually restart, microscopic life returning first, followed by hardy plants. The planet would begin to heal, but it would be a world irrevocably changed. These initial signs of recovery would be monumental for any surviving humans, offering a fragile hope for a future, a chance to rebuild from the very ashes of catastrophe. Over thousands, perhaps millions of years, Earth's ecosystems would undergo a slow, painful process of regeneration. New species would evolve, filling the vacant niches left by the extinction event. The planet would gradually warm, and oceans would rebalance. But this new biosphere would be vastly different, shaped by the catastrophe. Humanity, if it survived, would be part of this new, wild world, no longer its dominant force, but a resilient, humble participant in a grand, reshaped web of life. It's a testament to life's enduring power, even after unimaginable devastation. If humanity were to survive, what lessons would be learned? Perhaps a profound appreciation for our fragile planet and the delicate balance of its ecosystems. The memory of the Great Darkness would be passed down through generations, shaping cultures and beliefs. The drive to prevent future cosmic threats would become humanity's paramount mission, a collective vow to never again be caught unprepared. Our technological regression might even lead to a more sustainable, interconnected relationship with nature, born of necessity and hard-won wisdom. Even millions of years later, the impact crater would remain a permanent geological scar, a visible reminder of the day the sky fell. The geological layers above it would tell a story of destruction and rebirth, a testament to the planet's resilience and the sheer power of cosmic forces. For future generations, it would be a solemn monument, a place of pilgrimage, perhaps, to reflect on the immense forces of nature and the enduring spirit of life. It would be a planetary tattoo, a badge of survival, and a warning. The scenario of the dinosaur-killing asteroid hitting Earth tomorrow is a stark reminder of the ultimate fragility of life, and indeed, of civilization. It challenges our hubris, our belief in control, and forces us to confront the raw, untamed power of the cosmos. While the probability of such an event in our lifetime is infinitesimally small, the scientific understanding of its consequences profoundly underscores the importance of planetary defense efforts and our responsibility as custodians of this solitary, precious blue marble. It is a call to protect, to cherish, and to remember.